Welcome to Little More. I'm your host, Stella Littlemore, mindset coach, lifelong student of personal growth, and someone who's here to challenge, support, and remind you just how capable you really are. This podcast is all about ditching self-doubt, building unshakable confidence, and stepping into that version of yourself, the one who actually believes she can have it all. You can expect real talk, a little tough love, and the occasional existential crisis because, let's be real, growth isn't always glamorous. But here's the truth. You are worthy of more, and together, we're going to make sure it happens. Hello, my loves. Welcome back to another episode of Little More, the podcast. As you can probably see from the title of this week's episode, we're talking about the mid-year funk. And I've seen a little bit about this on social media lately in people opening up about reaching like a mid-year funk, losing motivation, losing your momentum, getting bored of the routines and the things that you were ordinarily lit you up and got you inspired. And I've really resonated with a lot of these videos because I think towards the first half of this year, massively, for the first time on New Year's Eve, I felt so much anxiety going to this year, really lost, really stuck, like, what am I doing? And I really took this first half of the year to realign, to learn a lot of things. I guess I want to share with you girls these things because regardless of how overwhelming that feeling can feel of being out of momentum and not having that same spark, or the things that once lit you up, them not lighting you up anymore, it's not because they don't light you up. It might be because you've outgrown the systems or you're just simply out of alignment. And I want to talk about it. I want to unpack what I've learnt with you girls and help give you, I guess, the support, the guidance, and the reassurance to know that you're not stuck, you're not broken, you're just out of alignment. So it might be that you've outgrown old systems, but you haven't replaced them with new ones yet. Your conscious wants one thing, but your subconscious isn't quite on board yet. Your body and your actions might be in survival mode or doing what it deems as safe rather than in that creation mode. I promise you that you're not lazy. It is actually really simple, and that's why we want to bring this episode to you girls to help you get that clarity and the direction back in your life and just feel heard and reassured, because I know I definitely have felt very overwhelmed and have spent a lot of time learning and reinvesting back into myself to try and figure out what my direction is and how I actually get there. It literally just comes down to a misalignment between who you are and what you're doing. Let's understand alignment. What actually is it? So your conscious mind comes down to your goals, your desires, and your logical thinking. And then your unconscious mind comes down to your fears, your limiting beliefs, and your patterns, which actually breaks down to be 95% of your behaviors. And then your physical body comes down to your habits, your rituals, your daily actions. Now, when you don't have all three of these aligned, that's where we experience that stuck or that lost feeling. Your energy, I guess, is fractured. So that's where you attract that confusion. So for example, you can't call in your new life, your dream life, if you're still stuck in old patterns and old behaviors, thinking like your past self. So that's why it's really important to align your conscious mind, your unconscious, and your body in order for you to manifest and attract that new dream life or the goals or whatever it is that you're trying to work towards. How do we actually reset and align these, you might be asking? We're going to go through your mind, your routines, and manifestations. Because when we learn to realign and reset these three things, I promise you, you're going to have so much clarity and so much more momentum and inspiration to move through these things without experiencing that stagnance and the stuck or lost feeling. You have to rewire your automatic thoughts from protection to potential. We do this by anchoring back into your core values, your core beliefs, and aligning your automatic thoughts with those core beliefs. So a question I ask clients, are your thoughts aligned with the version of you that you're wanting to become? So a very common one that I experience with them is if they're, for example, wanting to manifest or attract a relationship, a healthy, stable, secure, loving relationship, their thoughts might look like all men are fucked, all men cheat, there's no good guys left, those negative thoughts, but they are not aligned with that core value that you're wanting to be in a stable, secure relationship. So we have to shift those automatic thoughts to align with that goal. If you're having these automatic thoughts, then that's where you're going to experience that confusion or the self-sabotaging actions where you push away potential things that are going to contribute to you manifesting that dream relationship. So you really have to shift those automatic thoughts so that they're aligned with that goal. So for example, it might be, I attract a loving, healthy, masculine man who leads in a relationship. Whatever those negative thoughts are, we have to replace them with an affirmation and repeat those to ourselves every day. That's going to help rewire. Obviously, it can be a bit more complex than that. Maybe there is a trauma that, or a wound or a past experience that ties to those negative automatic beliefs. And if that's something that isn't as simple as replacing it with a positive affirmation to rewire your brain, maybe we need to go in and do a bit of shadow work, do a bit of inner child work to heal that wound in order for them to fully embody that new affirmation that we're trying to rewire their brain with. Another example that I notice with clients is, for example, they're trying to manifest a new outcome in their business. Maybe it's that they're wanting to reach a new monetary goal. Say they're trying to reach 10k months, and that's something that they really want, but their beliefs are not aligned with that new desire or that new goal. Maybe their beliefs are, I'm not worthy of that, or I can't do that, it's too hard, it's too overwhelming. Whatever those the automatic thoughts are, we want to rewire and shift them to be aligned with that goal that they're wanting, because you can't achieve that goal if you're still thinking with the same brain that only achieves $4,000 months. So we realign those thoughts, those automatic thoughts, to align with the new goal. Maybe it's, I am worthy of achieving consistent 10k months. 10k months come to me easily. It comes to me with ease. It feels magnetic to me. It feels good. An example I like to use with showing how powerful and potent this work really is if you think about depression and you think about anxiety, and when you're experiencing those thoughts and they're just like this loop going around in your head, and you're focusing all the negatives, how quickly you can spiral into a depressive, anxious state. The same thing happens with our goals and growth and new beginnings. If you're focusing on all the good things and you're rewiring your mind and your automatic thoughts are positive and they're moving you towards that goal, you're going to see that momentum and those actions take place so much faster than if you were those automatic thoughts are negative. I hope that makes sense. But just think, our thoughts manifest our reality. So you really want to rewire and shift those automatic thoughts to align with the goal that you're wanting to achieve. The next thing I want to talk about is routine. So how do we reset and realign a routine? Morning routines is something that I look at massively with clients. I look at it with myself all the time as well, because your morning routine sets you up for the day. And I think we get stuck in having a fixed morning routine and doing the same thing every day. But what we forget is, just like the universe, just like the world, just like the environment around us, it goes through seasons, and so do we. So the morning routine that might have worked for you in your last season might not be honoring you and serving you the way that it did previously. So being able to recognize this and shift into a new routine that honors the season that you're in is something that is so important in growing and adapting with life in order for you to achieve those goals that you're wanting to work towards. For example, when I lived in Bali, my morning routine looked like waking up at 4 a.m., doing a meditation, doing journaling, breath work, moving my body. Those were all things that really honored the season that I was in. I was very much in a season of healing and working on myself and focusing on me. Whereas now, that morning routine does not serve me the same way it did. If I look at my routine in Dubai, that looked very different. I was in a relationship, the space, the season, everything that season that I was in looks very different to the season I was in when I lived in Bali. So my morning routine there looked like similar. Maybe there was those core habits that stayed the same, like ensuring that I meditated, ensuring that I journaled at some point in the day, but didn't set me up the same way it did when I was living in Bali. Rather than journaling my deep thoughts, it looked like doing a to-do list and meditating, watching the sunrise, doing my to-do list, and then working, getting those hours smashed out really early, because I was running off a time clock or a time frame that matched my Australian clients. So my workday finished at 2 o'clock. So after 2 o'clock, that's when the creative things happened, whether it was deep journaling or whatever it was that fit that season that I was in then. I had to adapt and I had to lean into the season that I was in. My morning routine here. When I first moved here, again, I was more in a season of healing and focusing on myself and nourishing friendships. So that morning routine was as simple as waking up, getting a coffee, going and watching the sunrise and watching my mum surf, because something you guys probably don't know about me is I love watching the surf and watching the ocean. It really calms me and heals me. And I think after being in Dubai for so long, being deprived of the ocean and that connection with nature, I really needed that, and I really honored that in that season of just letting go of meditating, letting go of journaling and being so strict on that and forcing myself to do that, because the season that I was in was just grounding and finding my feet again. So being able to move with the season that you're in and adapt is going to honestly help you so much as you go through life. And I mean, I don't have kids yet, but I'm in a relationship with somebody that does have kids. So that being able to adapt has proven to really help me in being more resilient and going with the flow and having that ease in my life and my routine. My morning routine now in the season that I'm in, again, it looks different. I enjoy waking up, meditating, having my coffee and getting straight into work. Some mornings I have time to journal, some mornings I don't. Some mornings we have the kids and they get up at 6 a.m. and I don't have time to sit there and journal. I'm helping them with their breakfast and keeping an eye on them and tag teaming, and it looks different. But being able to lean into the season that you're in and go with the flow is going to really serve you in achieving your goals. But something that I've learned and I really tell my clients is you have to be able to dedicate some part of your day to you, to filling your cup up, because if you're pouring from an empty cup, you're giving people the rest of you rather than the best of you. A lot of my clients are mums, and juggling, I know that, and I know firsthand now that juggling, prioritizing you time and showing up and being present for your kids is a very challenging thing to juggle. But honestly, all it takes is 20 minutes before they wake up. And I know sometimes that gets disrupted beyond your control, but try and dedicate 20 minutes to you, whether it's just doing a 5-minute meditation and writing out a to-do list and having that time to drink your coffee in silence, or just dedicate a fraction of time to yourself every day to pour your cup back up, because you can't pour from an empty cup. And giving people, you really have to ask yourself, do I want to give people the best of me or the rest of me? Because that is what is fair to your children and the people around you and the people that you love and care about, is giving them the best version of you rather than the rest of you. So the next thing is manifestation. I recently did my manifestation coaching certificate, so I would say I'm qualified to talk about this now, but it's something that I've always been interested in. It's been something that I've always naturally been able to do and be successful at. I remember in maybe 2020, I started making vision boards and I unintentionally manifested, well, I guess it was intentional to a certain degree, but I didn't realize the power that manifestation has on your life. But I started with vision boards. To be fair, I started manifesting unintentionally before this, but I really saw the proof and the evidence and really started to believe it when I started doing my vision boards. And year after year, I started manifesting every single thing on my vision board. Remember the first year I put on there like dachshund puppies, living in a van, being in a relationship, somebody that liked the gym, yada, yada, yada. And after that year, I looked back at that vision board and I was like, oh my God, I've got 3 dachshunds. I live in a van. The person that I was in a relationship with also went to the gym. I was doing all of these things and I was like, oh my God, like this shit actually works. So I'm going to explain how it works. When you align your conscious, your unconscious, and your physical body to the goal that you want, that is when it happens. Now, I know I just touched on vision boards, but manifestation isn't all vision boards. It's about aligning your energy with that goal. So I'm going to talk to you about this more and explain how we do that. Manifestation is made up of our thoughts, our beliefs, and our actions. So we really want to align all of these so that we can create that momentum towards our goals. So if you're out of sync internally, you're going to match your wounds rather than your worth. That's why I preach the importance of healing your wounds and doing the shadow work and working with a coach, whatever work aligns with you and resonates with you, doing that so that those wounds are not becoming the blocks towards your goals. Okay, guys, I'm back. I've taken a little bit of a break. I went and edited half of this podcast, went for a swim, laid in the sun, enjoyed my Sunday because it is Sunday. If you can hear kids laughing in the background, I live in a street where there's lots of kids laughing. Anyway, I want to get straight back into this week's episode because she's potent. I'm back in the energy. Had a few things come up, but we're back. Forgive me if I'm not quite on track with where we were just left off. But we're going to go back into manifestation and really open up this conversation. I'm going to teach you girls a little bit more about it so that you can understand and I guess make the links yourself and understand where you're potentially going wrong and recognize where you need growth or to realign yourself. A person cannot attract or create if your body and your mind does not resonate at the same rate. So when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about your thoughts, your beliefs, and your actions responding at the same rate. So a question that you can ask yourself is, the way that you speak to yourself in real life, is that authentic to who you are underneath the surface? Girls, when you align all of your senses, so your conscious mind, your unconscious mind, and your physical, and you have clear energy, you will start to emit and amplify new positive energy into the world. This is where you see the quantum leaps, the snowballing, your manifestations coming to life. So just to reiterate, you need to turn your automatic thoughts into healthy ones. By the way, this is going to help to release dopamine, which is going to make you feel motivated. It's going to make you show up and act and move differently and feel better. Now for the stats. If you make these shifts, so you align your conscious, you align your unconscious, and you align your physical, after 1 week, you will start to become more aware. You will start to notice behavioral shifts, not fully, but partially. And then after 4 weeks, you will start to see emotional shifts. So how you react, how do you respond to things in your life. And then after 90 days, you actually start to hardwire your belief system, which is linked to your value systems. And this is where you start to do things with momentum and ease, and you're doing it for the reason that you want and now fully believe. Now, finally, it can take up to, I think it's 254 days to fully change a habit. So the action fully changed. But remember, it only takes 90 days to hardwire that belief system. Now, upon reflection, as I said this year, I've been doing a lot of silent work. I've been moving the needle silently, doing things to work on me that necessarily not everyone's going to see. But reflecting on that, while I was doing a lot of work, a lot of it was coming from the old version of me. I was moving from an energy that was not serving the version of me that I was wanting to become. I was operating from survival mode, or the version of me that thought that she was protecting me now, not coming and moving and acting from a place that was going to actually expand me. So I really had to stop, think about this, reflect on it, and realign myself. The way that I spoke to myself, the actions that I was taking, and what I was really anchored into. Now, surprise, surprise, I feel so much more grounded in who I am. And as a consequence, my conscious mind, my unconscious mind, and my physical, so my thoughts, my beliefs, and my actions are aligned. And it's evident in the life that I am now attracting and the things that I am achieving. So I want to give you a bit of reassurance. You do not have to restart, okay? It is just about realigning. And I know I've given you a lot of information. I can appreciate that it can be a bit to digest, but if this has resonated with you, I want to give you an offer, an opportunity. I have not done discovery calls in probably 10 months, but in this realignment and getting clear on who I am and my why and why I'm doing all of this, it really comes down to wanting to help people. And I've opened up a lot about the amount of people that I've lost in my life, and I can really understand and resonate and appreciate feeling lost and feeling stuck, and knowing the tools and the foundations it takes to get you out of that, knowing that and how simple it is. And it just comes down to having the right support and being guided and having a proven system in place for you to achieve those things. It is easy. It does get to be easy. And I mean, there are going to be moments where it is emotional and it's hard and all of that. But when you have the right system in place, it works. Okay, it fucking does. And my whole reason behind this is to help people, and so that you don't give up because you feel lost or you feel stuck, because you can get out of it, and I promise you. And so for that, I have decided to open up my calendar to be able to give you girls just a 30-minute call with myself, absolutely no strings attached, and just to, you can tell me how you're feeling, where you're at, I can understand you, and if that means that I can help you and I can guide you, then amazing. I will be so happy and honored and fulfilled to be able to provide that for you girls. But if it literally just means that I give you a bit of redirection, or I refer you on to somebody that I think that would resonate with you or align with you a lot better, then that's amazing too. And I will be, again, so honored and fulfilled to be able to open up a conversation with you and hear you and redirect you in the right direction. Now, I know one of the biggest things that comes up for a lot of women when it comes to investing in yourself or working with a coach is the financial side of it. And I can understand this. I understand that we're living in a world that it is overwhelming, and the cost of living is a lot. So I really want you to know that this call is no strings attached. I literally just want to hear you. I want to hear what you're working towards, how you're feeling. And if it turns out that I can help you and I can support you, I don't want you to worry about the financial side of things, because whatever your capacity is, I am committed to working with you. And if I can, I will try, and I will do whatever I can to meet you at what your capacity is, so that we can get you to where you want to be. Because obviously money is great and it gets you nice things, whatever. At the end of the day, it is just a value exchange, but I don't want that value to be what holds you back, because the biggest thing and the most rewarding thing that I get out of this is knowing that I've been able to support you and guide you and get you to where you want to be and achieving your goals. So I'm opening that up. I will leave the link in the show notes of this week's episode. I hope that this episode has helped you or reassured you or given you clarity, or maybe it's just been what you needed to hear to get you back on track. But as always, I love you girls so much and I appreciate all of your support. If you are enjoying these episodes, don't forget to rate the podcast, follow to stay up to date, depending on what platform you're on, because we're now on YouTube. I don't know if you know that. I've not really posted the link anywhere, but we are, so you can watch me in long form content now. But I will talk to you all in next week's episode. I love you all so much. Bye.